Hey troops, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan and I'm a former Royal Marines Commando from the United Kingdom. And today we're going to be reacting to who has deadlier missiles, Russia or the United States. In all honesty guys, I don't really know. This is a video from Infographics, so we'll see what information they've got. Go check them out, the link will be in the description. But let's get into this one. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel.
In October of 1962, Russia R-12 and R-14 nuclear missiles were stationed in Cuba, a mere 90 miles away from the Florida coastline. If launched, they could have reached the United States in minutes, killing millions. Meanwhile, in Italy and Turkey, 45 United States PGM-19 Jupiter missiles had their nuclear-armed tips pointed toward Russia. Had the conflict escalated and both forces discharged their arsenal, it's very likely that human history would have ended with a bang in 1962. This was the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's been 58 years since the incident occurred. Since then, Russia and the United States have both developed missile technology that makes the arms of the Cold War seem quaint by comparison. While, thankfully, the US and Russia are not currently at war, it begs the question, who today has the superior missile technology? And would this give them an edge if conflict were ever to reignite? Today,
well, I guess that's an easy one to answer. Yes, having the greater missile technology would greatly benefit your military. However, it's all well and good having all of these missiles and the development of, but it's really down to one thing. Are you prepared to use them? Now, America and Russia both, if pushed, I do think they would be able to say, yeah, we are prepared to defend our land and we would use these weapon systems. But the US and Russia are two huge military powers, all right? Military powers on an unbelievable scale. And if they did anything and pushed the button, either or, it would have direct consequences for the rest of the world entirely, all right? So I think that conflict is something that they'd be less willing to press the button on. But in general, I think they'd both be prepared to defend their land.
today we're going to discuss the respective arsenals of the two countries, including their air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles, surface-to-surface missiles, surface-to-air missiles, and the infamous intercontinental ballistic missile, and see who comes out on top. Firstly, their air-to-air capabilities. To be clear, air-to-air missiles refer to a missile fired from one aircraft with the specific purpose of destroying another. These weapons are most commonly used during
Right, so I'm going to just give this one to the United States straight away without even reading into this too much and watching what's next, because the Air Force and the United States Marine Air Force as well, they've got obviously a bigger Air Force than the US Marines compared to most of the militaries in the world. They've got some pretty good kit, all right? The aircraft that they've got is substantially greater than most of the world, okay? So I have no doubt that the kit that they use on these aircrafts are going to be substantially better as well, all right?
Air Combat Maneuvering, or ACM. Two such missiles employed by the U.S. Air Force are the AIM-7 Sparrow and the AIM-9 Sidewinder. The AIM-7 is a medium-range radar-guided missile with blast fragmentation warhead designed for all weather and altitudes. It was used heavily by pilots in the Persian Gulf Wars and has an operational range of 43 miles. The AIM-9 is a supersonic missile with infrared homing technology, allowing it to track the heat of its targets. Deployed in its first iteration in 1956, with current operational range of 22 miles. However, for the last 30 years, the true backbone of the United States air-to-air missile arsenal has been the AIM-120 AMRAAM. First released in 1991, the AMRAAM is a lighter, faster improvement on the AIM-7, with an operational range of 86 miles. It boasts...
That's pretty... That's pretty far, guys. Anything above 80 miles is outstanding, really. When you think you can deploy that weapon system from the air, and it traveled that far, it's a pretty good defense weapon system, and it's also pretty good at seeking out and destroying anything that may cause you danger or harm. The United States always go bigger and better. I don't think Russia will have anything that goes quite as far.
It's an active radar system and beyond visual range capability. This means that the missile has greater independence from the fire control system of the aircraft that launched it, allowing for greater combat capabilities than previous missile technology. The two air-to-air missiles at the heart of Russia's Air Force are the R-77, introduced in 2002, and the incredibly new R-37, which was only introduced last year. The R-77 is Russia's response to the American AIM-120. It's a medium-range missile with active radar homing capabilities. But can it beat the AIM-120 on technical specs? The R-77M, the latest iteration of the missile, boasts an operational range of approximately 120 miles.
Right.
This surpasses...
Okay, so, yeah, Russia does have a weapon system that's considerably better. I'm shocked by that, guys, actually. I didn't think they would have had something that was developed to be considerably better for range, but that does make a bit of sense with the way Russia is. I'm actually quite shocked at that. What do you think of that, guys? Drop a comment.
The AIM-120 by a considerable 34 miles. While things are already looking bleak for the US here, it is with the R-37M that the Russians truly began to surpass their American counterparts.
Wow.
The R-37 not only has the active radar capabilities of the AIM-120 and R-77, it also has the devastating maximum operational range of almost 250 miles. It also dominates the AIM-120 in terms of speed, with a
Right, okay, here's me being quite egotistical, thinking that, well, they have to be more superior than Russia, but that's actually shocked me, guys. Unless America's got something hidden up the sleeve, which wouldn't surprise me, but that's considerably... I mean, in terms of in the air, Russia absolutely annihilates the United States on all fronts, really. They've got a superior weapon system. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, guys. It's not often I'm stumped like this. That's... yeah.
Shocking 1,500 mile-per-hour disparity between the two in the R-37's favor. When it comes to ACM, Russia takes the win, but maybe not for long. Even now, the US Air Force is constructing storage facilities to securely store the first test batch of AIM-260 missiles, which were fast-tracked in development by Congress in response to advances in Russian, but especially the Chinese missile technology. Very little is known about this new missile, but it is rumored to have some truly next-gen tech. Next, air-to-surface missiles, or ASMs. These are missiles launched from aircrafts to land or sea targets. The United States military's primary ASM is the AGM-158, Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile, or JASSM. This weapon has been in use by the US Air Force since 2009, and in its latest iterations boasts both anti-jam GPS and infrared target acquisition technology. It also has a 1,000-pound penetrator warhead and an operational range well in excess of 500 miles, meaning if you have a JASSM coming at you, you're seriously out of luck.
Yeah.
The US Navy's preferred ASM is the AGM-84HK Slammer, or Standoff Land Attack Missile Expanded Response. An older missile, the Slammer has been in service since the year 2000. It has an operational range of 170 miles, but makes up for its lower operational range with vast improvements in control. As a cruise missile, the Slammer utilizes command guidance, meaning the missile can be controlled and redirected by ground units toward appropriate targets. If, for example, its intended target is destroyed, the Slammer can be directed toward another. Russia's non-Soviet air
Yeah, something like that proved very effective in the Iraqi war, okay? You hear loads of these stories about the cruise missiles that were used over there to very, very good effect from the United States. But the Iraqi military, holistically, at that time, wasn't really considered a formidable fighting force, so it's only... they're only as effective as how bad your enemy who you're fighting against is. And if you're fighting against someone who's superior and dominant in weapon systems and in the grade of the weapon system, then you know it could be very, very ill-effective if you're fighting against someone who's really good, like Russia in this case.
The surface arsenal is considerably thinner on the ground. However, in 2018, 10 MiG-31 supersonic Russian interceptor aircrafts were released on an experimental basis carrying the new Kh-47M2 Kinzhal missiles. Due to being such recent additions to the battlefield, there's less concrete information about the Kinzhal. However, it's been reported that the Kinzhal has a high explosive warhead 100 pounds greater than the American JASSM. What's more, there have also been reports that the Kinzhal can sustain nuclear capabilities, hugely increasing its potential lethality. Russian state media has also released claims that the most advanced iteration of the Kinzhal has an almost 2,000-mile operational range. However, it's worth noting that many American spectators have suggested these claims are vastly exaggerated for propaganda purposes. In light of this, the more tried and tested American missiles take the win. Next, surface-to-surface missiles. This refers to missiles launched from the ground source, such as a shoulder or vehicle-mounted launcher, with the intention of eliminating a ground target. Thanks to America's long history of participating in ground warfare, there are numerous strong contenders in this area. In terms of
Right, I know we said this about the air missiles, but I'd be very, very surprised if the United States didn't take the lead on this one, given the fact that they've been actively engaged in ground wars and winning these wars for a long, long time. I'll be surprised, guys.
And portable artillery, you can't go wrong with the FGM-148 Javelin. This is one of the U.S. infantry's most popular missiles, being introduced in 1996 and having over 5,000 recorded firings by January of last year. The Javelin is a powerful anti-tank missile that destroys targets with its high-explosive anti-tank or HEAT warhead. The Javelin has also proven highly effective against enemy fortifications during ground combat. Since the 1970s, American infantrymen have also made liberal use of the BGM-71 TOW. This is a heavier anti-tank missile fired from a portable tripod rather than a shoulder-mounted launcher. It's been utilized in almost every American conflict since the Vietnam War,
Wow.
and is used heavily today by American troops in the Syrian Civil War. The U.S. infantry also used the MGM-140 Army Tactical Missile System, or ATACMS. These tactical ballistic missiles can be
I think Britain used them for a short period of time, but I'm not too sure. If you know, let me know in the comments, guys, just to confirm.
blasted out of multiple rocket launchers to eliminate short-range ground targets. These missiles were particularly popular during the Iraq War of 2003, with over 450 ATACMS being fired during the conflict. However, by far the deadliest U.S. military ground missile is the Tomahawk land attack missile. The Tomahawk is a devastating long-range cruise missile employed by the U.S. Navy since 1983. It's capable of striking land targets within an 800-mile range. The Tomahawk...
Bloody hell. 800 miles is... wow. Yeah, I used to do an 800-mile round trip just to get to camp and back home when I was in the Marines. So, yeah, that's pretty far, guys. I've driven that regular.
Tomahawk also boasts a 1,000-pound high-explosive warhead, and in the past has even been equipped with nuclear capabilities.
Whoa.
If a naval ship armed with the Tomahawk wants you dead, you don't really have much of a say in the matter. While a grand majority of Russia's surface-to-surface missiles are essentially Soviet hand-me-downs, Russia does have one missile that functions as an answer to the Tomahawk, the 3M54 caliber. First introduced in 1994.
Well, I've never heard of this weapon system, if I'm honest with you, so it'll be interesting to see how this contends with the Americans variant that was released in 1996.
This cruise missile's high explosive warhead is over 100 pounds heavier than its American counterpart, has an almost 3,000-mile operational range, and reaches supersonic speeds.
That's
The
insane.
caliber is designed mainly as an anti-ship missile, but has proven to be extremely effective in eliminating ground targets in conflicts like the Syrian Civil War. While the United States' surface-to-surface arsenal is more versatile, no missile in their collection has quite the caliber of the caliber. Russia takes the win.
So, do they take the win, though? America's got a more adaptable variant and versions of this missile system, capable of being deployed in various different functions, all right? Which just makes them more versatile and able to make quicker, more responsive decisions, whereas Russia's just got one big horrible bomb where the missile where they can just go, right, okay, we're going to destroy everything. But will it be more, I don't know, I think they'd be more reluctant to use that weapon system in certain situations. I don't know, what do you think, guys? I don't think Russia has the win on this one particularly.
Next, surface-to-air missiles. These are largely defensive ground or ship-launched missiles designed to take out enemy aircraft and cruise missiles. The three tentpoles of the U.S. surface-to-air arsenal are the RIM-174 Standard Extended Range Active Missiles, or ERAM, the Avenger Air Defense System, and the National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System, or NASAMS. Each serves a highly specific function. The RIM-174, a long-range ship-launch missile, takes out high-speed air targets over land and sea. The Avenger Air Defense System uses short-range FIM-92 Stinger missiles to take out low-flying targets, and the NASAMS utilizes medium-range SLAM-RAM missiles, a surface-launched variant of the AIM-120 we discussed earlier, to protect Washington, D.C. and other high-priority targets. The Russian equivalent to these systems are the 2K-11 Krug, the 2K-12 Kub, and the 2K-22 Tunguska. All three of these technologies were first invented by the Soviets prior to modernization for use by the Russian Federation. The Tunguska is Russia's answer to the Avenger Air Defense System, taking on low-flying targets with short-range 9M.
I think the thing that's striking me with this is just how equal it seems on both sides. The arms race might not be as prominent in our memories as, for instance, the arms race of World War I and World War II. extreme war forced different countries to raise the game in many different ways. But what's going on here is more of a behind the scenes types of arms race, which, both countries are actually very effective. And it seems to me like Russia and the United States on this front are actually more level than I would have first anticipated. Which, when you have time to reevaluate it, it doesn't actually surprise me that they're actually quite level. Take ego aside, Russia and the US are both formidable fighting forces, and they've both got money to do whatever they want militarily within reason.
311 missiles. The Cub functions on the low to medium air target range, utilizing 3M9 missiles, and the Krug is Russia's medium to long-range air defense missile system, utilizing heavy 9M8 missiles with 330-pound high-explosive warheads to blast planes and cruise ship missiles to Kingdom Come. On this front, the United States takes the win for their significantly more modern and advanced surface-to-air defense systems. Finally, the Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles, or ICBMs. These are the missiles to end all missiles, with unparalleled speed, range, and raw destructive power. While the previous missiles can also be useful assets in conventional warfare, ICBMs can turn the tide or end a conflict altogether. Before we discuss the United States' and Russia's ICBM technology, let's first quickly explain how an ICBM works. An ICBM is a land-launched missile with an operational range of 3,500 miles at minimum. They carry conventional or nuclear payloads into low Earth orbit, traveling at incredible...
Right, so that says it all for me. There's a reason why these things potentially end conflicts, or actually start new ones, is the fact that they've got a nuclear capability. And when you can go at least 3,500 miles or kilometers, I can't remember what it said on there, that's a pretty effective range, guys, for any military, all right? At least that amount. Yeah, you don't want to be messing with these things. These things are game changers.
Speeds. When positioned above its intended target, the missile fractures, dropping the nose cone, which contains the deadly warhead, down onto the target. From this point, the target is mere minutes away from being struck, often to utterly devastating results. Some ICBMs are even capable of holding multiple warheads, giving them unmatched destructive power compared to any weapon ever invented by human beings.
Wow.
The quintessential United States ICBM is the LGM-30 Minuteman, which comprises the land portion of the U.S. nuclear triad. The first iteration of the Minuteman entered service in 1962, the same year as the Cuban Missile Crisis. And
it's crazy that their most deadly missiles are actually the ones that were invented in response to Cuba 40, 50, 60 nearly years ago. That's crazy that the development then, it just shows you what severe threats to society can do. It can push the boundaries with where you grade your military systems and how you effectively make them better. Because we've had military, we've had wars and stuff since the 60s, and then the weapons haven't been developed nowhere near as harshly, should I say, than 62. It's crazy, man.
has undergone substantial technological improvements since then. It offers an operational range in excess of 8,000 miles, travels at approximately 17,508 miles per hour, and is accurate to a mere 800 feet. The current iteration, the Minuteman III, is equipped with W-78 and W-87 thermonuclear warheads. America's current ICBM arsenal consists of approximately 450 Minutemen.
This is the thing. People might be wondering, well, 800 feet, that's quite a distance to be, it seems quite inaccurate, but when you look at the devastating effects in terms of its radius, its punch power, that's pinpoint, guys, all right? 800 feet, it is pinpoint when you see how much damage it's going to cause.
Stationed across Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota. However, the Russian ICBM arsenal is both larger and considerably more diverse. For starters, due to massively overproducing ICBMs during the Cold War, the modern Russian Federation has a stockpile of legacy missiles from their Soviet predecessors. These missiles, many of which are still in use today, include 20 silo-based RS-18As, 46 silo-based RS-36s, and 45 road-mobile RT-2PM Topols. But of far greater interest is Russia's modern ICBM stockpile, which falls into three main categories. First, the RT-2PM2 Topol M. This missile has an operational range of 6,800 miles and a speed of 16,400 miles per hour, and is accurate to approximately 660 feet. Russia currently operates 18 mobile and 60 silo-based
Wow.
Topol-Ms. Secondly, the RS-24 Yars, an improvement to the Topol-M. This boasts a maximum operational range of 7,500 miles, a speed of 15,220 miles per hour, and is accurate to an insane 492 feet.
That's insane.
Russia has 14 silo-based and 135 road-mobile RS-24s. Finally, Russia's latest ICBM, the RS-28 Sarmat, or the Satan II according to NATO.
If you've got a weapon system called Satan, that's only going to be a bad, bad day. You don't want Satan coming down and blowing shit up there.
Code names. This terrifyingly named weapon was announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2018 and concludes its final testing phases this year, with 46 of the missiles expected to be produced by the end of 2021. With testing still underway, the full capabilities of the Sarmat are not yet fully clear, and the Russian military is playing its cards close to its chest. The missile's operational range is expected to be in excess of 6,000 miles. But considering the Sarmat's development history is marred with delays, the weapon is still surrounded in uncertainty. The question of whether the United States or Russia has the superior arsenal of ICBMs is still up for debate. Russia does indeed have a larger and more diverse force of missiles in this area. However, even the most technologically advanced Russian ICBM currently available can't match the technological capabilities of the modernized Minuteman III, though.
Right, so it's these guys are in each other's pockets, okay? We're splitting hairs now. I think when you take everything into consideration, all of the different types of missiles they've got, I think they're pretty much on an even here.
It goes without saying that if either country ever deployed its ICBM stockpile, there would be truly devastating results.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even more so than during the Cuban Missile Crisis, America and Russia individually possess the nuclear capabilities to end all human life. They have two of the largest arsenals in the world, with only China rising to meet them. It's worth revisiting our initial question one more time. Who has the better missile technology overall? By metrics of this video, they're about even, with their strengths and advancements resting in different areas. One thing we can be grimly sure about though, if America and Russia ever entered another full-scale war, whoever came out on top, nobody would win. Enjoyed learning about how the United States...
That's a really interesting way of putting it, guys. Simply, it doesn't really matter who comes out on top. No one really wins in that situation because it would constantly escalate up to the point of where you're using more and more advanced weapon systems, and eventually just going to give, they're going to give them the nuclear warheads, aren't they? And then that ends everything for everyone. So for me personally, I don't think we'll ever see a major conflict between the two because no one wants to end the world, do they, really? But troops, really interested in that. My take on it was, I think it was a level playing field again. And no one really has the edge. They're both pretty similar in that. But what do you think? Drop a comment below, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video, troops. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.